morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1430. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the weekend. We've got March Madness. The madness is upon us. Got to rep the Wisconsin Badgers. Forgot to wear my Badgers gear on Thursday, but now they're in the second round today. I think tonight. I think they play at 6:45 tonight. How's your brackets looking? Mine's okay. Again, I don't worry about the first round. I'm not really worried about. I have one bracket filled out. It's our Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge. It's for bragging rights, so there's no money on the line. So I really don't care. I'd care more if I had money on the line. But I'm the older I get, when I was younger, I would play in like 3 fantasy baseball leagues and 3 fantasy football leagues, and 17 brackets were filled out, squares. And now it's like, I don't want to deal with all that. And I know it's not much to fill these things out, but when it comes down to, in my fantasy baseball league, I had somebody reach out on Twitter asking to get into their fantasy baseball league. And it's like, I stick to one league. And they're like, well, you can play in multiple. I know I can, but I don't want to. And it's competitive enough. There's money on the line, but I don't want to spread, I don't want to spend any additional time on fantasy baseball or filling out brackets. Like, I went through my bracket. I went through and I filled it out in like less than 5 minutes. And I talked about this the other day. If I was working my old job, I'd probably spend an hour just, all right, talking things over. But now, working for myself, I don't have time to fill out more than 5 minutes worth of a bracket. So I stick to one bracket. I stick to one fantasy baseball league. I don't even play fantasy football anymore. I don't do any online sports betting. So it's not as, and I will say, without betting on games, because betting on sports, I really never got any joy out of it. Yeah, it brings you closer to the game. You're a little more invested. You are invested. But when it comes to when it comes to the NCAA tournament, that's where it was fun. You've got, and I would put like $10 a game on, and you're watching the game, and I did that for maybe 5 years, and only 1 year did I actually do well with my betting, and probably the year I did well probably broke even from the other 4 years of losses in the NCAA tournament. So I don't do sports betting. Fill out one bracket just for bragging rights, and it's fun. We had quite the bracket. We still do. It's still an impressive bracket in our Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge. See if I can bring this up. We had some good games yesterday. Oh, I've got to refresh this screen, bring up the new standings. So how about Dennis? Dennis is freaking on a tear. Look at Dennis. 31 points. He correctly guessed 31 out of the 32 first round matchups. That is damn impressive. I mean, 28, John and David got 28, even 27, Sheena and Bob. Those are impressive numbers. 31 out of 32 games correct. That's amazing. Dennis had a perfect bracket through 25 games. There's a bracket. So now we're through the first round. NCAA.com tracks perfect brackets through CBS Sportsline, ESPN, NCAA.com, live updates, blah, 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 long, but it's NCAA.com. There are, through the first round, there are 181 perfect brackets remaining. 181. Now, the next bracket breaker, the first game up today in the second round is Purdue versus McNeese State. Let's share this tab instead. So here it is, NCAA.com. There, by the way, 34 million brackets filled out. 34 million. And right now, through the first round, there are only 181 perfect brackets remaining. If McNeese State upsets Purdue here in the second round and advances to the Sweet 16, there will only be 40 perfect brackets remaining, which is, when you think about it, a perfect bracket through those 33 games with McNeese State advancing to the Sweet 16. Like, that's, I looked up the numbers yesterday. The odds of getting a perfect bracket through all, I think, 63 games in the NCAA tournament bracket, that does not include the first 4 play-in games. So just the 64, the round of 64, a perfect bracket, the odds of getting a perfect bracket, 1 in 9 quintillion. And I think that's how many zeros at the end? I think that's like 18 zeros at the end, because it's million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. Is quintillion after quadrillion? I don't know, but or quadrillion and then quintillion, I think. So crazy. 181 perfect brackets remaining. Unfortunately, Dennis, he missed. He missed on Marquette, I think. I think he had Marquette lost, right? Marquette lost to 10 seed New Mexico. So how about that? That's a freaking impressive bracket. I don't think I ever had a perfect bracket. I think what was the first game on Thursday? I think I missed that. I think it was an 8-9 game that I missed on Thursday. It's like, oh, my perfect bracket's over. 1 game in. So there you go. So our bracket challenge, Dennis obviously is in first place. You saw the oops, wrong screen. You saw the so here you go. Dennis is in first place in our Hobby Evolution bracket challenge with 31 out of 32 games correct. David and John have 28 each. Bob and Sheena have 27. SoCal Guy and Nate Kelly have 26 games correct. And then I have 25, along with Joe and Joseph and Tim with 25 points apiece. Who's in now? Let's go. Wah, wah. Who's in last place? Now the Chris's, Chris M and Chris B, were at the bottom yesterday after the first day, but they have moved up, and now it's Richard and Kevin. Wah, wah. Only 21 points. But again, that's the good thing. If you're at the bottom, you can still rise to the top as long as you don't. I wonder if there's anybody that has, and I think you can see this. Does it say how many Final Fours? I thought it used to say, yeah, it just has. I thought there used to be like one of the columns on the standings was how many Final Four teams. I'm almost positive. I'm 95% confident, at least sometime in the past, they had how many Final Four teams were remaining. And because I remember like looking, that was kind of like a stat we looked at here on, it might have been last year. Now they don't have that. That's annoying. But I wonder if anybody, let's just go to the bottom. Kevin, does Kevin have all of his Final Four teams? He does. And I think at this point, there weren't any like major upsets unless somebody, I mean, Marquette was a 7. There were some 5 seeds. I don't know if I would ever want to put a 5 seed in the Final Four. So let's see. Biggest upset. So I think it was South was almost all 9 over an 8. Creighton beat Louisville. I think that's the game I missed. We were chalk. So 1 and 9 advance, 4 and 5 advance, 3 and 6 advance, 2 and 10. So just 2 minor upsets. A 10 advanced over a 7 and a 9 over 8 in the South bracket. Over on the other side in the East, it was a 1, again a 9 advanced, a 4 and a 5, 3 and a 6, and 2 and a 7. So pretty much all chalk with the exception of the 8-9 matchup, which that's a coin flip. Over in the West bracket, let's just share the screen so you don't have to look at me. Where's my tab? There we go. Okay, so in the West, we had 1 and 8, a 4 and 12. So there we go. We have a 12 over 5 upset. We had Drake 11 over 6. They'll match up against 3 Texas Tech, And then we had another 210, Kansas getting upset by number 10 Arkansas. So a couple upsets over in the West bracket. And then in the Midwest, we've got 1 versus 8. McNeese State, the 12 seed, beat 5 Clemson. So we've got a 4-12 matchup, a 3-6 and a 2-7. Not too many big upsets. The biggest upset was the 5-12s. That's surprising. Wow. That's really surprising that was the biggest upset of the first round. So there you go. A lot of chalk in the first round. So now it gets interesting. Will we see some upsets in the second round? If you see some, especially if it's a double-digit seed, if it's an 11 or a 12 advancing. I've got Drake. I had Drake moving on to the Sweet 16. So let's see if that comes to fruition. So I love me some March Madness. We had good games. The first 4 games yesterday, 3 of the 4 were like tightly contested down the stretch, which was fun. I didn't watch much of the games last night. I'll tell you what I did do though last night. I got a message from East Coast Tom, who's in the chat. He's first one here. He's like, "Hey, I'm meeting Bronco at the Sheraton for dinner and drinks," and I'm like, "I'll be there." So we hung out, me and East Coast Tom and Bronco. It felt weird. It felt nice having a beer in a. I didn't have a burger. I had the chicken caprese, which was okay. It was okay. The burger, amazing. Chicken caprese sandwich, not so much. Their fish fry, Tom got the fish fry. Their fish fry is really good. I was not in the fish mood last night. So hit it up, the Sheraton restaurant. But it felt weird being there without like moving tables around and getting ready for a card show the next day. The next Madison card show, a week from today, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. PSA will be on site taking drop-offs for authenticating and grading submissions. So come out and see PSA next Saturday at the Madison Card Show. And then, of course, April, we have the double-decker weekend, the regular Madison Card Show on Saturday, April 26th, and then the TCG show on Sunday, April 27th, the Madison Pokemon Show. All shows sold out. Dealer tables sold out for all upcoming shows, including the Pokemon Show. So next Saturday, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Hey, I also had, check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Yesterday was the last day of my 50% off sale. Yesterday, the final day of my 50% off sale, did as well as Kevin's bracket in our bracket challenge. Not a good sales day. Really bad on the dollars, and really poor on the volume as well. I'm still tracking 28% year over year, 28% growth year over year, which is good, but it's still not where I need to see much larger growth in my eBay store. So 50% off sales, while it does drive some volumes, it doesn't really drive in the monetary gain. But what does are my auctions. And so I added some more auctions last night. About 150 auctions went live. I think there's 100 that went live on Thursday night, about 150 last night. So there's roughly 250 auctions live right now. There's some you know how I hate lots, but I have so much stuff that we're going to blow it out on auction. So check those out. So I've actually prepared on Thursday night as I was watching some games. I was putting together batches for auctions. A lot of color and refractors here over the next few auctions. So check those out at 99centcards.com. Even though the 50% off sale is over, you can still save 25% when you buy 7 or more regular priced items from the Buy It Now section over at 99centcards.com. What else? There was something else. Oh, speaking of eBay, one more eBay thought. Next week, I will be on a call with eBay and getting closer to getting onboarded with eBay Live. So I'm excited for the potential. It's not set in stone. It's not guaranteed that I'll be going on eBay Live, but I do have a call with eBay I believe Monday. So, I talked last year about maybe doing some Whatnot selling. And, I set up a seller account on Whatnot, and it just don't want to do it. If I did any live selling, I ended up coming to the conclusion in my own head, if I do live selling, it's either going to wait it out and try to get onboarded on eBay Live or YouTube. And I've had some success with some of these YouTube live sales. So I still might do, like with bulk. I do have a couple shows coming up that I'm going to unload bargain boxes upon. The next show is let's see. So I won't be set up in Madison, but April 5th. Saturday, April 5th, I'm doing a show for the first time, and it's a really good show. I think they've done 2 so far. It's by Premier. It's the DuPage County show in Wheaton, Illinois. So if you're in the Chicago area, I'll be down in Wheaton on Saturday, April 5th. So that's the next card show I'll be set up at. And then at some weekend in April, and it's pending the weather, I plan on having a storage unit sale. And so I've got tables set up inside my storage unit with bargain boxes. Everything's going to be a dime. You can pull off. There's going to be binders. I'm going to be selling binders at like $10 a pop. And they're the nice binders. And there's cards and pages inside. So $10. If you want to buy a whole bunch of them, I'll give you a deal. There's going to be bulk. If you want to fill, we'll find a decent price for you. So I'm going to do that out of my storage unit here in Madison, Wisconsin, some weekend in April. Obviously, it won't be April 5th, maybe April 12th, because I don't think I have anything going on that weekend. Obviously, the last weekend of the year is the Madison double show. So, maybe in the middle, I think Easter weekend, although Saturday before Easter is not really, I'll do a sale on the Saturday of Easter weekend. So at some point, it's just, if it's raining, I'm not, even though it's inside my storage unit, I don't want, what happens is, it's a storage unit. So it's a garage door. So, if it's going to splash in, I don't want to get a bunch of moisture inside my storage unit. So, or if it snows, we could still get snow here in the next couple of weeks, but, tentatively planned, for some weekend early in April, we'll do a storage unit sale here in Madison. And it's right off the Beltline over by Menards, if you're familiar. Basically, everything's a dime. And then we'll do some bulk sales as well. So I'm excited. I'll keep you informed on my status with eBay Live. Looking forward to that. What else is going on? I think that's about it. Did some shipping, did some auction listing yesterday. Again, it was kind of a poor, let's go back. Oh, I'm in the screen. So I've got to do a custom for yesterday. So I did, let's take a look at my volume on eBay yesterday. So I launched the 50% off sale on Wednesday afternoon, like 4:00 Central Time Wednesday, and sold 251 cards. Now, here's the thing with 50% off sales, and this is why I keep them somewhat contained, because a bulk of your sales are going to come as soon as you launch it. You launch it, it goes out to your followers, people who like your store. You send a coupon code out to, all previous customers. So I do that. People get that, over the first couple hours that you launch, people are starting to see it and, click, 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 buy. By the second day, people have already seen it. They're going to buy what they want to buy. And by day 3, it's like, nope, everybody's seen it. Those that have seen it are already going to be buying stuff. So Wednesday, day of launch, 251 total sales. I was aiming for 500 sales, and what I should do if I want to do 500 sales in a day, what I need to do is launch it like first thing in the morning, and launch it right before I start Hobby Evolution, and, send all the newsletters, send the coupon code out, blast it on socials, and then talk about it here on Hobby Evolution. And then it has the whole day to build up to those 500. Because if I would have done that on Wednesday or Thursday, I probably would have hit 500 total sales in that first day, because I did 251 with the sale starting at 4 p.m. Now, not all 251 sales were 50% sales, but there was probably a good majority. 274 sales on Thursday, and then yesterday, a really bad day, even with that 50% sale, only 111 sales. So disappointed with those results, but hey, that's what happens on eBay. And today, today's the day after a 50% off sale ends. I could do 250 cards sold today. So you never know. And that's kind of with sales in general, not just eBay. But you could have a really crappy day at the office if you're in sales, and then all of a sudden the floodgates open the next day, and it's like, where'd all these sales come from? It's just, at the end of the day, over the course of a year, it kind of all averages out. But when you start isolating day by day, you're going to see a lot of ebbs and flows. There's East Coast Tom. What's going on? Good morning. Kyle is here. Good morning. How about that perfect bracket? Yeah, how about that? Mark's in the house. Good morning. Philly Joe is here. Good morning. Jody's in the house. What's happening? Red Light 34. Good morning. Orlando is here. Good morning. Dan says, hey, just watched Smile, a good, scary movie. I've never seen Smile. It's been kind of on my I'm interested list, but I never, when it comes down to it, I just can't watch movies. I just can't focus long enough. Unless I'm on a plane. I should have downloaded, I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime, but I could, that's the only, my iPad is so old. How old is it? Amazon Prime's the only platform that I can download. And I had to plug it. It's so old that I have to plug it into a computer to do updates. And I did that, and it still isn't updated to I can't log Netflix. I can't log on to I don't even think I can log on to YouTube from my iPad. It's, I think I got my iPad in 2014. So we're talking 10, 11 years old. So yeah. So when I'm on a plane, I'm invested because there's nothing else to do. But when I'm at home, too many distractions. But Smile has been on my list to I'm interested. Check that out. Chris, what's going on? When I was in college, me and my roommates filled out multiple brackets and skipped class to watch the first 2 days of the tournament. Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. I remember the first time I discovered the NCAA tournament. I was in maybe third grade. And by third grade, I was a diehard, focused on sports. Absolutely loves. Probably by second grade, sports consumed me, and that's why I had poor grades, because I studied Sports Illustrated and not algebra. Well, we probably didn't do algebra in third grade, but math, stuff like that, English. So I was sick, legitimately sick. Say third grade, and I think it was a Thursday in March. You know where I'm going with this. And now, remember, growing up, I only had 4 channels. We did not have cable growing up. So I had 4, 6, 8, and 18, and then public, and then PBS. So technically 5 stations. We had 4, 6, 8, 18, and then PBS was on channel 24, WQPT, channel 24. So when I'm homesick and I want to watch TV, it's basically Matlock rerun, and 3 soap operas in PBS. That's what I had to choose from. So I didn't want to be sick from school because there was no entertainment. Yeah, I guess I could put a movie in or play Nintendo, I guess. But I'm in third grade. So this would have put me in, I'm trying to think of what year this would have been. 1992, 1993, somewhere in that. That makes sense. Wait, no, I would have been in 5th grade. Hold on. I graduated 8th grade in 96. So 95, 96, 94, 95, 93, 94, 92, 93. So we're looking at probably 1990, 90 or 91. Probably 90, right? Third grade, probably 1990. I guess I could do the math. 5 years minus 91. So this is probably the 1991 NCAA tournament, March 1991, third grade. I'm home sick from school, and it might have been like the second day I was sick. So it was one of those days where I felt like I wanted to watch TV, where I was probably sick the day before, and then I was kept home like the second day just as a precaution, and then I was good to go. And I discovered March Madness, and I had no idea what the NCAA tournament was. Yeah, I'm in third grade, and I'm flipping through. And probably, I don't even know if we had a remote for the TV in 1991. So I'm click, 18. Oh, it's in the heat of the night. I don't really want to watch that. Click. Channel 8, it's Montel Williams. And I don't want to watch Montel. Click. Channel 6 is like As the World Turns. Click. 4, it's probably a soap opera. Basketball. And then there's like scores. There's like all kinds of basketball games. And then this game ended and another game came on, and there's like 3 other games. Now, and remember, this is back in the day where we didn't have True TV. We didn't have TNT carrying the tournament. It's hard to believe. It's only been maybe how many years? 20 years since they went to like all games are televised. Like it was solely on CBS into like the 2000s, I think. I'd have to look that. Somebody Google Dan. Dan's really good at researching. Dan, check this out. When did the NCAA tournament start broadcasting all of the games on the various channels? TNT, True TV, which I think it was Spike or HD. I can't remember. Anyway, so I'm in third grade and I discovered the NCAA tournament, and then I learned all about the NCAA tournament and bought like the Dick Vitale book and all and it's like, I love this tournament. And then I discovered like you can fill out brackets. Oh, so I was running bracket pools in grade school and junior high and high school. And it was funny because I was sick a lot of the times, like almost every year, during Thursday and Friday of the first round. Funny how that worked. Like it was always, maybe I was faking it. I don't know. My mom knows nothing about sports. So she didn't know what the NCAA tournament was. I'm sure she's heard of March Madness, but she never caught on. My dad wasn't a big sports guy. He was a gearhead and construction guy. So he wasn't really paying attention, especially to college. He watched the Cubs and the Bears, but he didn't know. He wasn't watching college basketball. So my parents didn't know. They were none the wiser. And March in the Midwest is still like cold and flu season. So it's like, oh yeah, he's sick again. And it was funny how that works. Like every year, Bo's sick during March Madness. All right. Kyle says, I'm lucky to have a perfect bracket through 2 games. Yeah, I didn't even get through 1 game. Thanks, Creighton. Zach says, hi to Tom and nobody else. Chris says, I ran the office pool at several places I worked. Now I do fill out 1 bracket poorly this year, unfortunately. I miss that. And I talked about this yesterday. I miss the paper brackets. I miss having a stack of brackets with a Sharpie and a highlighter. But I don't miss working out of an office though. So there's Tom says hi to Zach and Porter. Cooter says, good morning. Stopping for gas at Crossville Buc-ee's. Very nice. Very nice. Hey, look what I'm drinking out of. Buc-ee's. Zach says, instead of saying sold out, you should take a trick from selling cigarettes at the lowest legal price. Most tables allowed by law. Fire code reference. There you go. There you go. Cooter says, had the worst ribs ever in Knoxville last night. Hutchins and Texas barbecue reigns supreme. Man, I am still thinking about that barbecue from Hutchins I want to come back to the Dallas Card Show just to go back to Hutchins to have that barbecue. Like the card show is secondary. Actually, the card show is thirdary. Cooter, I want to hang out with Cooter again. I want to have Hutchins barbecue and the Dallas Card. If we make it to the Dallas Card Show, like I would skip the Dallas Card Show and just have ribs in Hutchins, but I can always go to the Dallas Card Show and then post-game meal in Hutchins. Chris says, maybe in the future you have a card show weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and call it a triple-decker. I like it. I like it. Zach says, my order from Bo arrived today. I'm nervous. Don't be nervous. Arrives. Can't jinx it. Yeah. You know what the tracking did. So speaking of tracking and speaking of mail delivery or non-delivery, I filled out 24 ESE claims. So far, which what I don't like is I don't know if so there's 24, 12 were refunded. There's 12 that were not refunded, but I also didn't receive notification that they were declined either. So I don't know if anybody's, I've never had one declined. So I don't know, like, has anybody had an ESE, a PIP claim declined? And how did you know? Did you just wait for it and it never arrived, the refund? So I did get about half of my money, and actually it ended up being about half the money. So I got about $50 back on refunds from my PIP claims, and it was exactly 50% on orders. So 12 of the 24 orders were refunded, and which was about 50. It was a little less than 50% because I think like my highest dollar order was like $18 on a claim. That one was not refunded. So I don't know if it was declined or if they're like just doing more work, like, oh, and so some of these, some of them were delivered. They were marked delivered like after I refunded the buyer. And I know too, for example, because the buyers reached out and said, hey, can I give you the money? I'm like, it's like 99 cents or $1.75. The two that did that were like cheap ones. I'm like, don't worry about it. Just buy something from my store in a future. Like just keep my store, bookmark my store, come back and buy something later on. So I had one person like, oh yeah, I've got a few items saved already. They might have already bought something. So we'll see. So far 12 of 24 PIP claims refunded within 24 hours. We'll see if the other 12, what happened. Are they going to be accepted just a little later? Are they going to be declined? Am I going to even find out if they're declined? I'm curious. If you have filed a PIP claim and it has been declined, did they tell you it was declined or why it was declined? Tom says, will there be food adult bevies available at Bo's storage locker sale? Well, if I said yes, I could get in trouble with the health department. So I'm not gonna answer that question to keep me safe from legal repercussions. Johnny M says, good morning. I listed the Sandberg penny at auction last night. We will see what it's worth. Interesting. I'm curious. Here's my prediction. I'm going to say at auction, I'm going to say it sells for $12.50. That's my prediction for auction. $12.50. Low Roller says, do March Madness update standings. I think we just did. Low Roller, he already did. You're late. Low Roller, give a Bitcoin update. Bitcoin flat today. Like Amy John in 8th grade. Get a new iPad. You can afford it. Here's the thing. The only time I use my iPad is on flights. So 3 times a year, I use my iPad. I'd rather just look at my phone. If I'm on the couch just scrolling, I'd rather use my phone than a big iPad. Is AOL Messenger installed on your iPad? It is. Yeah, it sure is. And I'm still using Xsite as my search engine. Get a new iPad as a tax write-off. John says, I was a Big East tourney guy. Went every year in the mid-'80s. Ooh, the glory days. I borrowed my brother's fraternity mates in order to get the college feel. There you go. Johnny M says, I get a new iPad every 2 years, usually a new iPhone every year. Family thinks I'm nuts, but I sell the old one for almost as much as I paid for it on Facebook. There you go. I think I'm due for a new iPhone. I think it's been a couple years. I usually get a new iPhone every 2 to 3 years. iPad, I just don't use iPads. I just use my phone. Tom says, I have several 90-day free trial for AOL saved up. John misses paying $4.95 for the software update discs. Zach says, to Low Roller, how much money did you make from selling cards on ComC this past year? What is your annual income before taxes? Does he pay taxes? John says, baseball cards were replaced with AOL discs at store checkout by the mid-90s. Why do you need a tax write-off when we don't have to pay taxes anymore, thanks to the tariffs sent down from heaven? Low Roller says, I made $3 to $5 a month, ComC, a month doing nothing. There you go. How about that? $3 a month. Low Roller, that is awesome. Great work. Now I know why you were able to provide tons of great advice to Bo on how he sells. Breakfast burrito acquired into Nashville. Ooh, love me some breakfast burritos. Breakfast burrito is the perfect breakfast item. And it's the perfect road. You know, I don't know why. Probably because there's not really a good... Is there a good burrito? And I'm talking like not breakfast burritos. I love McDonald's breakfast burritos. So I know it's not a great palate. But is there a good fast food burrito? Like just drive-through burrito? Taco Bell, Chipotle is not really fast food. And their burritos are so big and messy. Like, the McDonald's breakfast burrito is perfect. Like, it's good. It's solid. Like, I enjoy a McDonald's breakfast burrito. Now, is it like a Michelin rated breakfast burrito? Absolutely not. But you get what you pay for. Actually, you get more than what you pay for because it's a cheap burrito and it tastes good. It tastes better than what it should based on the price you pay for a McDonald's breakfast burrito. And it's so it's perfect to eat in the car. It's all wrapped up nice and tight. I will say, and I mentioned this, Arizona, they wrap their McDonald's burritos are wrapped differently. And I actually like the way they wrap them better. Like here, it's just like they kind of roll them up and sometimes stuff flops out. So it's not really the perfect car, although it's not messy like a freaking Whopper. You can't eat a Whopper driving down the interstate, but you can a breakfast burrito. We need to have a better breakfast burrito, like a cheap breakfast burrito option at fast food. Can you trust it? Got a kink in my neck. Low Roller says, I'm flipping sports cards under 50 cents on ComC. Tom says, Bo Damone had concert tickets for Dokken and Slayer for sale in 3rd grade. Mr. Archer, good morning. Zach says, I'm not a huge fan of amateur athletics. There, I said it. I love college hoops. Love college basketball. I'm not a college football fan, though. I suppose with NIL, they aren't amateurs anymore. We lost George Foreman last night or yesterday. No one really had a career like him. Yes, rest in peace, George Foreman. The George Foreman movie is really good. Watched it on a plane ride where I didn't have to pay for my carry-on like some people think. Straight up unlikable thug to adored by all. That is. It's kind of amazing how his life story. Mr. Archer says, Cooter, are you in Knoxville? That's my town. Where did you have ribs? Low Roller says, start listing George Foreman in your store. John says, don't take your daughters to the Mouse's Ear in Knoxville. Start listing Oliver Miller guy in your store. In the midst of my first missing TCDB trade mail. Calhoun's on the river for the worst ribs of all time. Tom says, $12.51 on the Sandberg. Sorry, channeling my inner Price is Right douchebag bid. Who's going to go $1? John says, when you factor in LRS's government checks, he makes much more than $3 to $4 a month doing nothing. We need breakfast chili. I'm going to Card Show next month to sell all my sports cards I won on Whatnot giveaways. Chili, by the way, is sensitive craft beer enthusiasts' version of a sloppy Joe. I think we've had this chili debate. Not a chili fan. Low Roller wants to know if Zach has a ComC store. Bo, you got George Foreman card. You should list them in your store. I don't know if I have any George Foreman cards. I don't think I do. There's no such thing as amateur athletics anymore. True that. Cooter, I wish I'd known. I could have recommended something better. John says, Michael Scott burned his foot on a Foreman grill, possibly the goriest injury in sitcom history. I didn't watch The Office. I watch every once in a while, like it's on reruns, and I watch it every once in a while. I'm not a big Office fan. I don't know. And why is that? I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld's like a love or hate. Like either you love Seinfeld or you hate Seinfeld. I think that Seinfeld is one of, if not the greatest sitcom of all time. The Office, I could do without. Like, yeah, there are some funny moments, but it's like, it kind of falls flat for me. I don't know. I wonder why that is. And maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe I like Seinfeld so much. Although, when it was on originally, I was too young to get a lot of the jokes, especially the Jewish jokes. I grew up in Podunk, Midwest. I didn't meet a Jewish person until I was 20. So I didn't get a lot of those jokes. And then when I met my wife and started going to like Jewish meals, and now I have a Jewish mother-in-law, like all of the jokes make so much sense these days. Like, now I get it. Maybe that's why I like Seinfeld so much. Now I understand it now. But I didn't. My parents loved it. Like when I remember whatever day it was on in the early 90s. And it was like, I wasn't a fan. But then like as it near its end, I really started liking it when it's in syndication, was watching it. And then now it's like, oh, this is hilarious because now I understand it even more. Kind of like Saturday Night Live. I understand so many Adam Sandler jokes now. Low Roller says, I am still skill game vacation until April. Mike Smith is on vacation. You got George Foreman grill in your house? I do not. At one time, I had like 3 of them. But I do not have a George Foreman grill anymore. The George Foreman grill got me through my 20s in terms of meals. So, but no George Foreman grill. John says, I only claim Jewish ancestry to get the free girls of the IDF calendar each year. There you go. So that's what I had for today. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. 50% off sale is over, but you can still save 25% off. That's still a steal of a deal. When you buy 7 or more cards at regular price. Check it out, 99centcards.com. I will go live tomorrow morning, probably around the same time, 8:30 Central. Remember, next Saturday, a week from today, is the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive, and PSA will be in the house. PSA on site next weekend, next Saturday, the Madison Card Show. You can find them upstairs in the Capitol Square Ballroom. They'll be along the south wall, which is like the main entrance. I know people are like, oh, how that's like where everybody goes. There's going to be some tables eliminated in that area, just so we have a clear pathway of getting into the show, and if there's a long line getting into PSA. So there's normally a couple tables in the hallway by the elevator. Those tables will be removed for this show. And sometimes there's always 2 tables on the inside to the right. Those tables will be gone as well. So going to move those so we have clear flow of traffic getting into that entrance. So next Saturday, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, PSA on site. There's no on-site grading or authenticating, but you can drop it off with PSA. You don't have to send it through the mail or go through a group submitter. You can do it straight to the horse's mouth. PSA on site next Saturday, Madison Card Show. Where are we at? John says you should upcharge PSA when they get there. Dick's Sporting Goods buys. Yeah, hey, how about that? Paul Skeens, after the buyer's premium, sold for like $1.1 million. And the buyer was Dick's Sporting Goods. How about that? That's a nice little swerve, as they call it. I didn't talk about it. Now I am. LRS, save the good topics like that for Hobby Hotline, please. Joe Rogan stole the target demographic for the George Foreman grill. So, yeah, I think Hobby Hotline's coming up in about an hour. Not sure who's on, but I'll tune in while I'm shipping. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Have a great weekend. Have a great day. We'll do this again tomorrow morning. See you then.